Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are. I'm Greer, your local storyteller. It's been a bit. Truly. I'm just looking at my little frames, one sec. Okay. That looks good. I had my own stream open for a moment to listen to music, because right now it's quietness. As in the description, the game audio will be muted, as Red Spring Studios said, as a safety measure, just to mute the music. They had some issues with it. Today is the demo. Later, maybe Genshin. Tomorrow, Cult of the Lamb, back on Twitch. But today we're doing a YouTube stream. Alright, let me open up the game. I wanted to really start from the beginning for this. It'll be mainly decisions based off of Greer as a character, which is a bit different than how I usually act when playing stuff, because I don't have a full setup for Greer yet. Second, friends are wonky. A bits. Ugh. How do I would pin it, but the little reacts are in the way. Okay, I'm gonna switch to game then. This feels so weird that there's no music, but the music is so good for this part. It's just the fact that I can't do the music right now because they're trying to fix some issues with claims. But otherwise, the music's really good. I have all the other sound effects going, but we're doing a new game right now. This feels so weird. Desktop audio is not muted. There's other sounds you'll hear. You just won't have music. New game. It is the prologue. It is not finished. However, they do a lot of updates, and they're very wholesome about it. To be nice to them. One second, I'm just fixing something. There we go. Okay. I'm like trying to fix my little view screen. I haven't done much on YouTube streaming in a bit. There we go. This feels so awkward without music. This is the demo, TOUCHSTARVED prologue, and not the finished product. Thank you. Content warning for any of those in the stream or watching the VOD. This is important for you. If you wish to watch this, this is what you will be dealing with. So, be careful. Maybe I'd do a pin, but that's fine. We are proceeding. and TOUCHSTARVED, your choices matter. The decisions you make may result in unique dialogue, interactions, or even choices in red text, which contain exclusive content. Try playing through the demo more than once and choosing different options. You might encounter a secret ending. And remember, there are no wrong choices, only interesting ones. Choose wisely and save often. Left click is progress text and dialogue. Mouse wheel up, rewind text. Mouse wheel down, progress. Spacebar, hide UAI. Or UI. UI. Alt, activate skip mode. We are in Greer today. Item. This feels so weird without the music. Don't worry, I got this. This world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters, inhuman beings with unnatural powers. Some possessed language and intellect, others were mindless beasts driven by little more than a desire to slaughter. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear while monsters thrived in chaos. And then there's you. Shifting my mic closer. You are not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Choose your backstory. Also, I played through the demo multiple times. However, I take breaks before I play again. That way, there's bits and pieces I'll forget. Let's see, for Greer. The unnamed, a fallen oracle. You were raised as an oracle in a remote temple. The priest claimed your touch bestowed enlightenment. The visiting mage revealed your curse for what it is. Following the mage's word, you fled in search of cenobium. You regularly experience unnatural premonitions that rattle your body and soul. An innate sixth sense gives you a heightened awareness of hidden supernatural presences around you. The Hound, a forsaken thief. You were raised by society's outcast criminals who accepted you when no one else would. Your partner in crime, a friend since childhood, helped you steal enough money for a cure, then betrayed you. They left you with only enough coin to travel to Cenobium, your last hope. You have sharply honed social intuition. You can survive and even thrive in a violent underbelly of any city, using your experience with the underworld to get ahead. The Alchemist, an abandoned mage. An exiled Cenobian mage took you in as a child, raising you as her apprentice. She seemed to take pity on your curse, but you discovered that she was cultivating you as a test subject. You fled to the Cenobium seeking a cure. You an experienced spellcaster with encyclopedic knowledge of alchemy, spellcraft, and history. With little observation, you can identify the subtle effects of magic. Okay, let's see here. So for Greer, if you have seen Greer's lore, it wouldn't be the Hound. The Oracle is interesting, but the Mage is pretty accurate with the mage that took Greer over and used them. but with the dream aspect of Greer. Raising a remote temple claimed your bestow. Unnatural premonitions are all. You know what? I'm gonna go with this one because this one is like too accurate. But this one would be interesting if you go along with the dream aspect of Greer. So that's what we're going to do. We are the unnamed. Your name is Greer. You selected they, them pronouns. Your backstory is the unnamed. Is this correct? Yes. We are in that mindset now. Oh, this is so sad without the music. That's okay. I don't want to get copyright struck. Somehow. The wasteland stretches as far as the eye can see. There's nothing out here but death. The ever-present stench of decay, and the countless sun-bleached bones cast like seeds across the barren land. I could say death doesn't scare me, but to tell the truth, I'm desperate. It's been 2 weeks since I joined the caravan bound across the waste. Finding a group that would accept me as was a trial in itself. As rations grew sparse and my canteen ran dry, I began to despair. But then I saw it. Iridia, the city of knowledge, one of the last bastions of humanity left in the world and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. I love the artwork in this, by the way. All that stands between me and a cure is the final stretch of salt-soaked waste. Or so I think until I see the first tendrils of fog snaking beneath the wagon. Is this fog fall? Here's an awkward moment. I don't remember how loud my audio is for when effects do happen. So it might scare the shit out of me. Because you'll hear effects, just not the music. So we'll see. My stomach sinks at the very whisper of it. A silent storm more devastating than fire. Dangerous in the cities, but a death sentence beyond them. You know what, actually? Let me, preemptively fix this just in case. And then we'll fix it after. I just don't want to get the jump scare. A thick blanket of fog engulfs us, smothering out the lantern's light. The wagon lurches to a stop. An eerie silence heavy as a mist falls over us. The only warning we get is a strangled scream. Stay back! No! The cry dissolves into wet gurgling. Okay, looking at the audio, that wasn't that bad. Fix it. I won't do it all the way up, but I'll do it there. When I open my eyes, adrenaline lends sudden, awful clarity to the carnage around me. A trader I once shared bread with lies face down in the mud, their back reduced to long streams of torn muscle, gleaming gristle, and exposed bone. Bodies littered the wasteland. I try to rise, but my ankle explodes with pain so blinding, white blooms across my vision. Only when my eyes adjust do I see the dark shape in front of me. Soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. I freeze, but it swivels its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. The soulless lets out an ear-splitting shriek and runs at me. But right before it reaches me, the beast barrels past, vanishing into the mist. Distantly, a horse screams in the dark. I need to move now. Greer is selfish, so Greer would run for the city. I take off, running deeper into the haze. The fog is so thick that I fear I'm headed in the wrong direction until I see a dim prick of light emanating from the shadow of a spire. It's faint, but it's enough. I came too far to die here. Rapid footsteps echo all around me. I turn in circles, frantically searching the opaque mist for the source, but the fog fall twists in such a sound. Suddenly, the caravan's driver bursts forth from the fog. Our eyes meet too late. He slams into me, knocking me to the ground and slip on a patch of mud. Solus falls on him as soon as he slows. It catches the driver by the throat and rakes his stomach with razor-sharp claws. He comes apart like wet paper, spilling a tussle of viscera in a steaming tide. Fighting the urge to heave, I claw frantically through the slippery muck for a handhold. Shit! My hand catches on the jagged edge of rib jutting up from the water. Bandages and fur around the gouge torn deep in my palm. The pain's quickly forgotten when a hand closes around my wrist. Can you stand? One of the travelers from the caravan leans over me. We need to run. They reach for my hand and I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. No, don't touch me. The sensation of their thumb brushing against the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch. In the space of a breath, my curse takes hold. Their lips peel back into a deranged grin. No, I've seen that face countless times before. This is my curse. Madness of my own making. The grip on my hand tightens until pain radiates from my knuckles. Let me go. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Die, 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 die. Spit bubbles at the corners of their mouth and flecks my face. The edges of the vision darken and my lungs scream for air. Well, they really can't scream, though. Greer would try to fight them off. Let me just... Don't look at all these. You can't look at those. Those are from other save files. Those are spoilers. But Greer would try to fight them off. My nails gouge deep into the traveler's wrist, but no matter how much blood I draw, they don't flinch. The more I struggle, the tighter their grip grows. My pulse hammers and the E is stretching, or slowing with each thudding beat. Maybe I should put the content warning on this stream. Nah, I put that it's dark-core. This can't be happening. I'm going to die. And not because of the fog fall or the soulless, but because of my own curse. Tears sting my eyes. No, no, no. Not here. Not like this. The hands drop from my neck, leaving me wheezing for air. My lungs burn with each ragged cough. My vision clears and the traveler's face takes shape, hovering inches from mine, lips still split in that macabre smile, even as blood seeps through between their teeth. They give one last shuddering breath, then slump over, the claws hooked through their stomach. The soulless shoves the body aside, the glowing eyes studying its leathery skin, thin as though grinning. There's a flash of claws. Red spills across my vision. I thought there would be pain, but I sink into the murky water. All I can feel is the grit of slit filling my mouth and the icy embrace of shallow water. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among the outcrop of reeds, mine neatly severed at the elbow. It should have taken both arms. Without them, maybe I could have survived. Maybe I could have had a home. Instead, I'll die cold, alone, and face down in a desolate wasteland. The fitting end for a monstrosity like me. Flashbang. Ugh. It's so bright. If this is death, it's not as bad as I feared. The cold is gone as it is choking stench of bog water. I could drift forever, cocooned in oblivion, until all thought and sensation vanished. No curse. Nobody howling at me in madness and terror. Nothing at all. The thought has a terrible appeal to it. But the next moment I take a reflexive breath. Air pours into my lungs, then out again in a ragged gasp. Feeling comes flooding back. Warm cloth on bare skin, a firm surface beneath me, or underneath me. A strange tang of sulfur in the air. Do not be afraid. I twist my head towards the voice. Tears flood my bleary vision as the bright glow of lamplight. Try not to move. The voice is calm, steady, and commanding, but more importantly, it's a stranger's voice. One thought cuts through my mental fog. I have no idea who this is, and I'm completely at their mercy. Stay away from me. My words come out in a little more than a creaky whisper. I clamp my mouth shut, hating how weak and helpless I sound. No. No? Who the hell is this? Greer stubborn. Greer would absolutely sit up. I managed to push myself up on one elbow, but the head swims and my surroundings give an alarming lurch. Stubborn patient. I don't have the strength to dignify with a response. Instead, I pull the sheet up higher and wipe my eyes until my vision clears. The stranger towers over my prone form. Warm light reflects on his pristine medical coat. I instinctively shrink back, and that's when I notice I'm completely naked except for the thin linen sheet. Naked, laying low caught, the pair of sharp golden eyes watching my every move. The man gaze flickers to my exposed, unbandaged hands. I plunge my hands under the sheet to hide from the sight. Though it's too late. You must have noticed what they look like. Ah, yes, my very cursed, messed up hands. Strange, cursed, inhuman. I brace myself for the inevitable suspicion and disgust, but his expression doesn't even flicker from that courteous smile. He just watches in placid silence as I struggle to make any sense of my surroundings. Where am I? Who are you? Be calm. You are safe here. Whoever this is, he clearly had no idea who or what I am. I've never been safe anywhere, with anyone. Even the shrine of my childhood, the one sanctuary I ever knew, turned out to be a horrific lie. I scowl, pulling the sheet protectively around myself. Where are my clothes? The man's golden eyes narrow slightly. A sharp sigh rustles the paper in his hands. I see you are not to be dissuaded. Your clothes were torn to shreds when I found you, but I procured replacements. I don't know why that was difficult to say. Procured replacements. Ooh. I want to look at the area again. So we have a mortar and pestle. We have different oddities. I want a cabinet like this. So I already have my own, like, oddities. Because Witch Life. But I want a cabinet to put them in. Because it just make it easier. I hope not having music isn't too awkward. Once again, the music had to be muted since they are running into difficulties with some of the music being copyright stricken, even though that shouldn't be the case. So streamers and video creators were recommended to mute it. Okay. Now continue. I seem to be in some sort of medical clinic. Bottles of silvery alchemical concoctions line the counters in named rows. The air makes my nose twitch, a faint whiff of smoke and something distinctly metallic that I can't quite place. The doctor produces a large, dense bundle of cloth, which he then sets at the foot of my cot. Easily as a head taller than most, and I have to crane my neck to look at him. Let's see. In this situation of Greer being ex-Oracle, I don't mind the random sounds in the background. Self-preservation. Greer would know not to bite the hand that feeds. Thank you. Greer's not stupid. Greer's just a little bit rebellious. I should be polite if I can, especially since I don't know who this is, what he can do, or what he wants with me. Meeting his gaze sends a hot frisson down my spine. Something about him nags at me like a half-formed memory I can't place. Thank you. You are welcome. I'll leave you to get dressed. I really want to see... I almost called him by his name, but I really want to see him have, like, braided hair at one point. That would be cool. Maybe I should have mentioned, I really like his design, though. Especially the little golden bits by his eyes. I don't know why. It just really looks good. With a curt nod, he leaves through a narrow door. I hear a soft click as the lock turns behind him. I count to 3 in the sudden silence. When I don't hear any more footsteps, I reach for the bundle of clothes. An itch at my elbow stops me short. I reach down absently to rub at it. Then I freeze when my fingers meet a neat line of stitches. I know what I saw. That beast took my arm clean off. And yet my arm shows no sign of injury apart from the black stitches poking through my skin. I gingerly flex my fingers, feeling my heart race at the sensation. This is impossible. I should be dead, or at the very least, gasping out my last breaths. I squeeze my eyes shut, waiting for the pleasant dream to unravel, to wake up bleeding out in the swamp. But nothing happens. The seconds tick by and my arm remains resolutely healed, my surroundings pristine and quiet. In numb disbelief, I reach for my replacement clothes and begin stiffly putting them on. They're thicker and warmer than mine were, with my black woolen cloak to go with them. There's one thing still missing. My bandages. The golden-eyed man didn't leave me with any, even though I know he saw my hands. I slid off the bed and take a few unsteady steps towards one of the drawers. If this is indeed a doctor's clinic, there must be bandages somewhere. I start opening drawers at random, and of course, that's when the door swings open once more. Are you looking for something? I whirl around, clutching a thick roll of clean bandages. I try to step back from him, but my legs bump up against the edge of the cot. Your caution is understandable, though if I meant you any harm, you would know. That doesn't make me feel better in the slightest, but he makes no moves towards me, so I quickly wind the bandages around my hands. The glowing scars and mottled skin disappear under a layer of clean white cotton. May I ask why you need additional bandages? Look, he's just like, do you deny my abilities as a doctor? Ugh. I needed to drink my drink. I clenched my jaw. I knew it would be only a matter of time before he asked about my hands, though the way he does it is strangely roundabout. All of these are negative. Greer wouldn't glare, but would be more interested in why. Because the curiosity actor. So not decline either, so we're gonna say nothing. There's no answer I could give without raising unwelcome suspicion, so I just shake my head and finish tying the bandages in silence. I can only help if you tell me what ails you. An involuntary snort of laughter escapes me. Where would I even begin? Would he even believe me if I told him? No. Best to keep my curse to myself for now, and learn more about him first. I noticed something. You didn't even hear the screams of the monster earlier because I had desktop audio muted anyways. Whoops. Now you as well will be jump scared instead of just me. There is some audio to the game. Not a lot. But when the monster screams, yep, you'll hear that. Who are you? You may call me Kuras. And where exactly am I? Aridia, which I assume was your caravan's destination. I could think of nowhere else for a group of travelers to go. Aridia. So I made it to the City of Knowledge after all. I should feel relieved. But all I can manage is a vague sense of increasing unease. How did I end up here? I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment, which you provided. Yes. He says it so simply, as if a small child, and he's explaining basic addition to me. I frown and flex my fingers on the recently healed arm. Aside from being a bit stiff, it feels fine. Thoroughly attached to me. You're saying that you stitched my arm back on. Pardon? A soulless attacked the caravan. It ripped everyone to shreds. It tore my arm clean off. But when I woke up here, I trail off, bewildered. I've never heard of any magic that can heal a mortal wound like that. What kind of person could do such a thing? The doctor, Kuraz, pinches the bridge of his nose. He sits back down in his chair, quiet for a long time. I do not know where you come from, but Iridia is the city of knowledge and deadly secrets alike. Information is power, and it is most unwise to give or receive it freely. Since you have refused to divulge your secrets, I will not divulge mine. I do not even know your name. You are new to Iridia, so I will overlook this specific breach of etiquette. However, you should not expect others to extend the same courtesy. Do you understand? He looks pointedly at my freshly bandaged hands. Though I am to admit it, he has a point. I'm also a complete stranger to him, and if he's telling the truth, he saved my life. I take a deep, steadying breath. This time when I speak, I sound a bit more like myself. Greer. My name is Greer. It is a pleasure to meet you, Greer. There's a little bit more warmth in his smile, his polite demeanor back on an instant. Now here's where Greer's curiosity would come in. Why did you save me? If there's anything I've learned, it's that everybody wants something. With the world in such peril, no one reaches out a hand without expecting something in return. Can I ask why you saved my life? You don't know me. The question seems to startle Kuraz. Look at him. He looks like an owl. Got owl's big eyes. He's like, what the fuck did you just ask me? I could hardly leave you to die in the waste. Assisting those in need is the very essence of a doctor's duty. I've never met a doctor who also handed out free clothes. My fingers find the edge of the cloak. There's a subtle but delicately embroidered pattern around the hem. I try not to think about what kind of price curious must ask for such a well-made clothes. No, I suppose not. Forgive my presumption, I rarely come across so fascinating a patient. I blink. What did you just say? I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. He's like, wait, I said too much. I like the expressions, though, that they do for the characters in this. It's very good. Not a lot of visual novels have a lot of different sprites. So it's nice to see that this one has so many sprites for them prepared. I cannot help but be curious about you, Greer. His voice dips to a soft murmur and he abruptly looks away from me. See, Greer is a very curious creature. You're pretty curious yourself. Am I? Well, I haven't forgotten about my arm. You know, the arm that got clean taken off and was in a bunch of sludge and bacteria, and somehow I don't have a very nasty infection. I wiggle my intact fingers. Oh, yeah, and my nervous system seems to work very good. Clearly not. But you haven't asked me for any payment either. I require none from you. Travelers do not have an abundance of coin, and it could be unethical to leave you destitute in a strange place. I fall silent, unsure what to say to that. Nobody would help a horror like me for free. There has to be some kind of catch or trick, right? A loud knock at the front door stops our conversation cold and spares me from having to say anything else. Duty calls. Unfortunately, you're not my only patient today. The knocking grows more insistent. Cross lets out a tired sigh. Please wait your turn. Though he says it quietly, the clamor on the other side of the door abruptly stops. Do you need anything before you leave, Greer? Oh. Between the soulless attack and my miraculous survival, I would almost forgot why I came to Riddy in the first place. I need directions to the Cenobium. Cenobium. Angry. He's angry. The look on his face is downright chilling. He pauses, choosing his words with cold deliberation when he speaks again. Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. Cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. My heart sinks. Is he saying that I came all this way for nothing? Risked life and limb for nothing? No, that can't be. I've only just arrived and already is the largest city still standing. There has to be a cure for me here. Then if not the Cenobium, where would you suggest? Do you know anyone else in Iridia? I shake my head. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wetwick and ask for Leander. Excuse me, the what? The Wetwick. He sounds deeply unamused. Ugh, my throat. One sec. Hold on, I'm gonna mute my mic. Okay, now to clear my throat. All the postings advertising Leander's bloodhounds, they are difficult to miss. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. That isn't much to go on, but Cross points towards the clinic's back door. You will be safe as long as you do not draw attention to yourself. That's easier said than done. I've always been a magnet for the worst sort of attention. If you require my assistance, you may return whenever you wish. Though he's smiling, there's a note of finality in his voice. Resigned to his dismissal, I slip out the back door. I must say this. Hold on, I need to delete these. You can't. Don't look. Don't look at them. There we go. I find myself standing in a narrow and rather gloomy alley. I pull the new cloak up over my nose, stepping over the contents of chamber pots that have been emptied out into the streets. Something weighs heavily inside of one of my cloak's pockets. A coin purse. Everything is still inside. Every last coin that I scraped together for the journey to Iridia. It doesn't even look like it was opened. There were so few coins to begin with, they probably weren't worth stealing. I glanced back at the clinic's closed door. Cross didn't take any payment. He'd even asked for a future favor. Blah, 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 blah. But he also said that Iridia's secrets are power. Does he expect me to give up mine at some point? That's not exactly a comforting thought. Still, no matter why he did it, Karas sent me a second chance and a lead on where I might find help. I better get going before he changes his mind. I squeezed out of the alley and into the crowded main street. The line outside Cross's clinic stretches down to the road already. Two thin peddlers queue alongside weathered others. If any place is in desperate need of free clinic, it's this one. The cobblestones are treacherously rough under my feet. Deep grooves worn between by regular flooding and decades of hard use. I knew Iridia was a river city, but I didn't expect it to look so eroded. The buildings are tired and dilapidated. Dilapidated. Forgot the D. All crammed together in narrow streets. And there's something else. A charge in the air like a shift in pressure before a storm. It's subtle. Little more than faint. Persistent thrumming, but I can't seem to shake it. The child darts by, clutching something greasy wrapped in paper. The smell of fried food drifts over to me. My stomach gives a faint gurgle. This morning's catch. Fried up, hot and fresh. Not too many eyeballs today. That sounds disgusting. But I'm starving, so I stuck my head under the stall's grubby awning. A large fish leers up at me, its three bulging eyes still visible through a thick layer of crispy batter. The vendor gives me a gap-toothed grin. What's the cheapest thing you've got? The vendor points a metal basket of what looks like long strips of savory fried dough. Fresh long lads. 3 copper apiece, don't burn your mouth. I take the coins out, counting them gingerly. At this rate, I might not even be able to afford dinner. Reluctantly, I drop the payment on the counter and take my meal. Two streets later, I pass on a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The music in this area is great. But unfortunately, I can't play it on stream. But I remember. It's good. Blah, 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 blah. The buildings in this quarter are dizzying and riot of color. Painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways. Musical notes call out invitingly. Incense mingles with the pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features a silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring, and the words Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto. As below... I was reading the next line. As above, so below. Circles the artwork. aka a very alchemist and magic phrase. If Leander is the leader of Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around the corner and nearly hit my head on a precarious dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read the wet wick. The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter from inside. Get it, fireball. Some of these look interesting though. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. Bustling bars are not something I'm used to, but I steel myself with a deep breath before pushing forward. A cursory glance doesn't turn anyone with a dagger-shaped earring, but I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and the booths rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. So it is here. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught swept along with the ill-stench current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing my elbows as the pressure bodies grow heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself. But the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Actually, no, I'll save this here instead. Yeah. Seriously, you dogs again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise up from the audience. I want to make his... I kind of have a similar earring, but I want it specifically to be like his with the Ouroboros, because that's cool. I like it. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands on the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. This really is my last time, all right? Or the last time, not my last time. Whoops. This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or a rich, low voice. But nothing as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd round him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink, or you'll miss it. He laughs, and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light. Real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. A flash of pale green, As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist, and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, growing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience burst into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show is the last thing I expected from a place called the Wet Wick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns it a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now, who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for the lilies, while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking onto me instead. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. Greer would be curious of the flowers, because Greer would want to save them and hoard them. Like, oh, magic flowers. What's this? I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me, and I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off the table, dropping among the sided crowd with an audible clink. Yeah, I wonder if I could make his earring. Maybe. I will have to check if I have the material. Alright, bloodhounds, get back to your drink. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded corner. I managed to squeeze beside blah, 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 blah. 1 second, let me mute. Okay, I've returned. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly, with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close making eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get ya? Surprise me and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit, I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. No, Greer is not dumb, but is reckless with curiosity. So, if they meant to poison Greer, what of us? I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans on his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over to me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, the sour taste rises in my throat. Here comes the questions. So what brings you to the wick? Kura sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls back into place. So it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I'll raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. Quips confirms my worst suspicions. It's awful. Somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. But any thought of complaining dies the moment I look and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as I said the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist in their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw him out, this is the bloodhound's territory. The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance to Leander, he's drinking, as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags his hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will you? This is business. Well, 1 second. My frame seemed to be a little wonky. I will give it a few moments to recover. Dum 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 dum. Oh, there we go. Buffering should be fixed a little bit. It'll do that from time to time. I know the reason why. But don't worry, it'll come back as usual. If you missed it for a moment, because I don't know how much it was buffering for. Basically, I mentioned the cenobium. All of the bloodhounds paused, and there was an uproar. Then I looked to Leander, just like, bruh. So now he's starting to like, okay. Calm down. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently returned to their drinks. Only a handful continued to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mixing enough drinks and, well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. Do. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the wet wick where layers of frayed bloodhounds posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Cross sent you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I followed an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyways. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people know about the capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of this, sir. These currency, information worth its weight in gold here. Cross told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the cenobium. That's why I came here. And that's what they want you to think. But things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, yet leaves me reeling. If that's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there's a solution to every problem and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Cross pointed you to the bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all and free of charge. For some reason, I thought it said I'm shaking in my boots, but that's not what it says. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished in the practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. 1 second. Okay. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practice speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Ander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the Cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? My eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out. That is, if you tell me what ails you. And it might not work for the Cenobian, but he is a mage, and a powerful one at that, if your demonstration really was any indication. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any other alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people. Hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking off his glove. Or taking his glove off. Blah, 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 blah. Grammar. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it. He offers me his hand, and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm. But I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is. I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist in a mask of madness. Okay, that's one difference. Oh. There was a little buffer for a moment. I saw that. Greer wouldn't think this. Greer wouldn't be like, oh, kind face. Nah. Greer would just be like, listen here, buddy. Nom, 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 nom. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you come from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in the city and you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many curses. You really think Kiras would send you here if I couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in Cenobium. Better even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I began unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if that makes you feel better. You. Look at this sprite. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. Greer would be curious, though. Despite the horrors of the past, Greer would just be like, alright, well, he's like talking out his ass right now, so experiment time. I tap his palm once, as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. When I look at his face, expecting to see the worst, Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time when I reach out to touch his palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you, there's really nothing to worry about. He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin in her wrist. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Color rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them, and more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived of years of bandaging, picked up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the smooth shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Now here's where Greer would veer off, because there's a moment of being curious. But Greer is also like, because I also have to remember I picked the Oracle background by Oracle. Because the Oracle also has weird visions. I wonder if the full game will go more into, well, probably will go more into depth of the backgrounds you choose. Nah, Greer would pull away. Greer is the type that likes privacy with curiosity, so wouldn't do everything out on the street. Let him go. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of rewrapping my hands, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Greer. You're right to hide this from me, Greer. That curse of yours is unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you best not get going out sharing that to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. I'm in board with something I had not yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. Just kicked my little stool. I have a little stool under my desk and I just kicked it. The wet wick is noticeably quiet. I don't know why I stuttered on that. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or in few cases fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all off for you to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know, I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Greer. Sure, stay as you like. You two have fun. The escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhounds rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Greer. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. I don't know if you heard that, but I was adjusting something on my mic. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. Ooh. Sound effects. The air clings sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowds, the sunless streaks look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over the stale crust in the gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got a reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Kuras and Leander both made it clear that the Cenobium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Cenobium for myself. If only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar their directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, till a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. The shadow runs down the street in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotched shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open a real long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't end it like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself, then turn. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human if it wasn't for the tufted ears. The tail curled around his ankle. With the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet and the monster uncrosses his long legs. Sarah gleams a shade of red that reminds me of suddenly of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive, moved like a beast. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, and the stranger's smile doesn't falter. Oh, let me save. The only beasts I've seen in the wicks drooling regulars, and though this did catch my eye. With the flourish of his hand, the in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets, and sure enough, found them flat. He crooks his finger, beckoning. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. Still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flicks on the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Greer wouldn't lie. No. Where did you find that? How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiled wide enough to reveal pointed canines. I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. A city like this, someone might take advantage. A bold-faced lie without a hint of irony. There's no way I dropped the key, but I can't think of an explanation of how it went from my pocket to his hand. I approached the man, careful to keep an arm's length away. It doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with a tilt of his head. His ears flick. And keeping your distance? I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over there? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look a common thief to you? Greer is probably just like, excuse me. He's got me there. Sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Hell, his shoes look like they cost more than I spend traveling here. Then there's the shop behind him, no matter the city. Parted pink curtains can only mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyways. Luckily for you, I don't charge. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped in the shadow, I feel something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. With sex much higher down my main exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely and I might even let you tuck my tail. Just throw it here. So some spindly little street urchin can snatch it and run. He read his manhunt and tilts his head so we can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here, so tell me, traveler, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's shit, the food's dreck, and there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're dying to consort with monsters. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, It's the most frustrating one I've ever heard of. Greer would be sassy and do it back though. How'd you know that I spent all of my money, starved and nearly died in a swamp just so I can crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I've been told subtlety is not my strength. So your place am I. I'd invite you if I had my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides over to my key, the hand and back. Yeah, take my hand and we'll go together. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. This is true. Greer would just be very against it. And something tells me that one's most dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me, but I'm coming any closer until you aren't. But I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? This is a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their ludus is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling in his finger. Naturally, this dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. Hightown, Lowtown, I know already like the back of my hand. What about the cenobium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it, that absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. You must mean the spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. Cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in the Olympic towers couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh, have you some pressing matters in the cenobium? Lunch dates with librarians, tea time with the most esteemed abbess. That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders and the amusement bleeds out of them. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of the tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key. But as soon as my fingers grave smooth brass, my hand springs shut around my elbow. Or his hand strings. Hey! He yanks me down and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, fear my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even as his fingers dig into my arm. I knew I smelled blood. You reeking death on the road. And that fucking doctor. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Let go. I try to twist away, but he doesn't bulge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just as I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human, not quite monster. Seems we're both. There! The stranger's ears flatten and he releases me from short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging into where his grip left grooves in his bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her pressed uniform marks her as a clerk of the Cenobium. I leave you all for, 10 minutes and you're already making trouble again. Will you stop harassing the tourist? The stranger, where I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the clerk with a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this as a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me and his tail swishes minutely. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Bear cuts in. By graciously offering my dear friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to flame. It will always find you given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice, don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook would sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs a wilting lock off of Vera. Oh, please, any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Vera rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line on his neck. And suddenly, it dawns on me the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Bear posed deliberately to hide the leash from me. The woman produces a key ring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless your friend's tagging along for a merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city. Words momentarily failed me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight smile before marching down the stairs. Ver lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Bear hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned, the Levantian nod? Is that the one where you take the three fingers and actually don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Bear's airy laughter echoes down the street, and it's only after he and the cleric have vanished from the sight that I realize still something missing. Oh, wait. I reflexively shove my hands into my pocket and find it. The room key. Pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts me from my relief. I don't know what Vera's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is the Cenobium saw fit to leash him. A fate I could share if that was vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze to the Cenobium faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, and I can put this all behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing over uphill towards a distant tower. Ba, ba, ba. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beating in my forehead, I finally found out what I was searching for. The cenobium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the cenobium tower disappears from the clouds overhead. My stomach gives an uneasy lurch. Though far grander than the humble shrine of my youth, the cenobium gives the same impression of being a gilded birdcage. Knocking seems like a terrible idea. I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the steps when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches below or beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine as if testing its strength. Boy, are you there? The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and the gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. Ugh, another tourist. Get out of here once you're done gawking. A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words. And then he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing. Just leaves gently, blowing gently in a cool breeze. Blah, blah, blah. I step away from the gates. Hopelessness is washing over me. Just to fix my seat. Ooh, my back popped. Hello. A whisper is so close, I feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. I instantly jerked away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She is gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off of her. Not because of the way she smells a little too wily, but the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days. Because her eyes shine a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. Red-eyed woman. These days, you need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond or even if I should. Her gaze then uncomfortably fixed on me, heavy as lead. Not lead, lead. Greer would be curious more than anything. After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smiles. Lucky for you, I have miracles for free. Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in tired breath. No thanks. I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps in my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out the blouse in broad daylight. Oh, what are you doing? As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves in the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. A shuddering breath escapes me. Fuck. Whatever disease this woman had ate away at her from the inside out. How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet. The power to cure anything can be yours too. The power of the sea spring. And 1 second. Audio test, audio. Nope. Frames are going down. 1 sec. Hold. Okay, should be fine for the most part. I am going to turn my mic down more though. I hear things in the background. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. Without another glance, she leisurely showed down Cenobium stairs. Various braids bobbing behind her, and the edge of her scarf peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to gain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the Cenobium shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from the higher streets, leaving behind our gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me farther and farther still, until I'm met with an all too familiar sight. One second. No. Okay. It might be a little buffery and slow, but it's fine. My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city outskirts are hardly recognizable in the daylight, but probably safer for it. But venturing beyond Iridia's laws is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntarily. I'd rather not. Are you kidding me? It's not safe out here. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to Ice. Most people know him as the gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently I'm both. But if the sea spring cured her, I need to know what it can do for me. I set off into the waste. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Greer. I hope we can meet again. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. It doesn't take me to realize it's not only the heartbeat I hear, like a nagging thought at the back of my mind. I can sense another pulse thrumming through the earth beneath my feet. I felt this presence before, when I stepped out of the Colossus clinic. Living dread coursing underneath the city, only this time I'm getting closer to it. For what seems like an eternity, I force each step forward. One step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled on a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, as an ornate jewel of architecture. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think. Until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Soulless. Several of them watch me in the distance like statues. I don't think I just run. Exploding into a messy sprint, I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards the decorated building. Flashes of the night chase me, gushes of blood and screams of death. Smell of burning flesh and sour bile. Can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. I need a sip. Also, what I'm gonna do for this demo, I will do the introduction for all the characters, but then I'll stop. Because then I'll encourage people to do it themselves to see more. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be saved, but when I process my surroundings, it's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be a sea spring, a place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes, seating pillows scattered the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Greer is curious, but is not stupid, so stay silent. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more as I reach for. The bottle. Reach further and over the lower end, it reads. They watch me through the mirrors. They won't stop staring. They know what I did. They won't have me. I'm safe now, I'm safe now, I'm safe now. I'll see resistor. Writing deteriorates on an unintelligible scroll. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooded deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Something familiar. It's watching me. Hey. I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. They chitter and growl, tendrils, spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species, both sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. 1 second, I gotta adjust my suiting. I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. I search for the voice's source, and I find it above me, lounging in the rafters. You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaving me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over. First with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. Thinking I hear stuff in the background, so I'm being quiet. Okay, it's fine. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twisting coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring my ears and they're not advancing, but that they can change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey. Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? Greer would be. This is where Greer would be like pretty sassy. Because obviously you're distracted, so why say that? Fuck you. I look right into his unnerving eyes, holding his gaze defiantly. Hold up, I'm gonna mute my mic as I adjust my seat. Okay. Fuck you. Is that better? A crooked grin cracks across his face. We'll work on it. I scan the souls again. They really aren't attacking, posturing more than anything else, almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them? Power the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death. He gives a non-committable shrug. Expecting mercy was your first mistake. My voice stops in my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. Greer wouldn't outright say that they need help. Instead would be like, tell me what you want. Ooh, my back. Tell me what you want. I'm not in a mood for guessing games. Your hands. Alarm shoots through me. I had my hands on my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp puff, I reluctantly hold up my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire on my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when the soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings are all too well. The hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. Ugh, my nose itches. 1 second. I grip the edge of bandages. Stop. My voice broke. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? Step backwards. And find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the sea spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gusher from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift of their demeanor so abrupt it gives me back a whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of a kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So, that's it. I'm not a threat anymore. Never were one. Why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. Oop, 1 second. I turned my mic down. I heard stuff in the background. What's that? Okay. Okay, they're done talking. I heard the people. In other words, he was messing with me. I dragged my hand over my face, exhausted by the fact this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. Also, I wonder if we'd get to read a lot more of the notes. That'd be neat if there was a ton and we got to read more of them. You're ice, aren't you? Depends on who's asking. One of your friends told me this is your territory. She said you were a gang leader, but there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Ice picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents in the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. Ugh, my nose is itchy. Ugh. Also, because the music is muted, not the sound. This area, I really like the music in this area. So if you do happen to play on your own time, it's very good. What do you need the sea spring's power for? Depends. Can it cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes his head. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. His frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. And he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? It's probably because I seldom fuck you. Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the forbidden Kool-Aid. From the sea spring. My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. No, it's just the forbidden juice. It's the forbidden juice. Is there a price? Always. Ice taps his temple with his finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it. You might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. A blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. My attendants used to tell me that this power granted people access to higher plane of understanding. A group mind of my own making. All lies. Something tells me this is real, even if it doesn't add up. Because remember, in this phase, Greer, it has the oracle background. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I finish my sentence, Ice strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Come on, my bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning at the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Ice's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ice approaches a nearby Solus, a lanky dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ice squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin, and pats his head. A gentle smile plays on Ice's lips. The affection he holds for the Solus is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Ice's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the Solus warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of protecting me sounds absurd. But me, I would totally say it's pretty. Just Greer would be ecstatic. Just like, what the fuck, this is cool. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. I heard something. Never mind. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I didn't have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the Solus at a measured distance and watch it nudge past the giant doors which open with ease. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one glance behind me. My heart skips when I see Ice's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me with an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. I just imagine them scuttling around. just be, they're like on the floor and just like kind of moving around, crawling. It's hard to believe that the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. See, it's adorable. Little tentacle monsters can be cute. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over his shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dust darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. I can't sense that massive heartbeat anymore. Maybe it was all in my head. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. We pet the dog. You always pet the dog. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath his chin, just like Ice had. It pushes my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the soul spins around and scampers back the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. You always pet the dog, even if it has 6 legs and a bunch of tentacles coming out of its head. You pet the dog. It's barely my first day to Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tame soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Well, this next part is really good with the music, but once again, music had to be muted until they get some things fixed. So I highly recommend playing the demo yourself. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia, the city labyrinth, even in the daytime. Labyrinthine, even in the daytime, has become a worn and treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wig. Need to take a sip. My throat. My steps slow and I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, but everything is still in the silence, playing tricks on me. I strain my ears, but everything is still. Oh, wait. Greer, though reckless and curious, definitely would be curious that something is wrong. 'Cause very, what's it called? Saves own ass moment. Yeah, see, instinct. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and dark as the pools of ink. I see nothing. Jump scare incoming, by the way, because you can't hear the music leading up. Just a warning. I'm pretty sure there is. Jump scare of a sound, I should say. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tight around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner and my thoughts come to a screaming halt, or screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world's blurring and adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The soulless that attacked the caravan. It's crunched over a dark and distinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spilled from its pallid flesh, blood gropes and cobblestones. For the mercy, the soulless is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slipping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the soulless raises its head, blood dripping from the tendrils. Every single one of its bulging eyes fixed unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Run! You run! I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bay splits the silence and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now. A wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and I skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom of my drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, at dead end. Then I turn around, the soul assumes in the entry of the alleyway. It's no longer running, it doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but there would be no use in yelling. Greer would just try to go through the door. I whirl, grabbing at the handle of the closest door. It turns completely and the hinges creak as I push. And I feel a flash of hope before a weight hits the door on the other side and it slams shut. The clink of lock turning as a grimly final. In this wretched world, few people will stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The soulless gives a rasping hiss. That's the only warning I get before it lunges at me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side, but a slick cobblestone betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the soulless looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. I'll rarely crack one eye open than the other, not sure whether I believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Moonlight silvers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood and the soulless. My eyes dart past the unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. A red pool spreads slowly from under its belly, or body, not the belly. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well, I gingerly take the offered hand. Stranger's gaze dipped on my bandages, pale lips part on the brink of a question, then close again. Ugh, my nose is itchy. With the strength belying of their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. Something about them is strange, unlike any human or monster I've met. I can't quite place my finger on why. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, meaning over the soulless, gangly body. With their back turned towards me, I realize I saw their hooded silhouette on the cenobium. Greer wouldn't prod a business that ain't theirs. And they certainly wouldn't sass, so you saved me. I shouldn't have had to. A harsh response takes me back. But before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. I can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me. Lesson learned, I could do without the lecture there. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention goes back to the soulless' corpse. They examine it with inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Greer. Min. Suddenly, Min tenses. Their blade flashes. They drive it to the back of the soulless' neck. The soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper until there's a sickening crunch, and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. I must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, withering their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like this in their misery. I calmly clean the blood off their knife. I swallow, my eyes still glued on the cooling corpse. Why is the soulless inside the city? Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. No walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. The Cenobians patrol don't bother you to... The Cenobians patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Her brow lovely furrows and they sheathe their knife, motioning to me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. I'm not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in the city. I trail behind them and they stride down the street. If it's dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that soulless, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Their answer is quite extremely harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? You've already helped me once tonight, why not a second time? That seems to catch them off guard. Their brow knits and they look away, scowling. How troublesome. Greer? I turn, surprised by the voice. Curtis walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solace was your work. Min shrugs. There's a familiar way they regard each other. One of these says these, I'm going to save just in case. I didn't know you had friends, Min. I don't. Freelance work is dangerous and Kuros is a doctor. That's all. Greer needs to get back to wherever they're staying before they wander off into the jaws of another soulless. It is late. Were you able to find a place to stay, Greer? I'm staying at the Wet Wick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about the alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mildly put out. Going to a moralistic that gaudy cesspit. Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste when Cross leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Cross is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Be like this with everyone. The deadpan look man gives me his answer enough. I catch Kuros hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route Kuros takes is completely different from the slow meandering glare in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through the dark streaks and twisted alleyways. It seemed like half the city was poured in unrealistic, colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick. Stores hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door and lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Fine, he still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing into the tavern. As soon as the door is open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the Wet Wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kuros stands out. Easily a head taller than most, so even so I nearly lose sight of him amid the swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts, not pouts. The crowd parts, even though answering his request. Cross glances over the shoulder to Min before me gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Cross in a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him. Although he's traded places with the bartender, he holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now, for the finishing touch, a flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar and I get my third and fourth shots of the evening in rapid succession. Ice leans against the bar, an elbow propped on the counter. He catches the glasses and lifts one light before turning it upside down. Contents magically concealed, staying firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. There, perched on the bar's counter beside us, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Whereas lips twitch and ears flatten when ice saucers in the glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ice just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually... In one fluid motion, Ice throws back his head and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ice's face. It's chewy. Chewy? Wait, let me try that again. Behind me, man grumbles. It told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Cross and Min. The sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt until Cross sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this won't take long. Min's eyes start from Kira's hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, stuck by a sudden revelation. All the people I met today know each other. Good evening, Leander. Ice, another drinking competition, I presume? Oh, it's evening already. I could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Cross has acknowledged Leander and Ice with the slightest nod, ignoring Vera entirely, not that Vera seems to mind. He tilts his head and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Cross. I almost didn't see you there, Min, looking for your booster seat. Min pushes back their hood. They level Vera with a cool look. I thought Ice wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Vera's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sign of impending fight, Leander vaults clear, clothes over the counter. He slides between Ice and Caress. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day that the esteemed doctor takes up a drink. His arm snakes around Caress's shoulder. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Caress? I'm afraid not. We're merely escorting Greer back to their lodgings. Cross gestures in my direction, my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Greer, it's been too long, everyone. This is Greer. They're new to radio. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fixed on me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. We've already met. I've met everyone. You've already met? Ice and Vera level me with subtly amused expressions. Vera tail gives a lazy wag. We did, not that long ago either. I'm starting to suspect they're stalking me. He looks too far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? In an instant, all eyes turn to Leander, freeing me from the burden of intention. And this is where I'm going to cut it off. Fix my chip. So, there is more to this demo. However, I will not be going down it as it goes off of different demo endings. So, if you like this VOD or stream, perhaps pick up the demo, play yourself, and see where it goes. I am going to go ahead and switch it. Okay. So this today was doing Greer's POV of TOUCHSTARVED demo. Later we might do Genshin stream, otherwise I'll just do dailies offline. Tomorrow, Cult of the Lamb over on Twitch. It has integration and everything, so give it a check. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, evening, night, depending on where you are. I am your local storyteller, Greer. Thanks for joining. Have a good one.